Far enough in, you feel good with the game plan that you've got going, against Oklahoma here?
Yeah, since we've been down here, guys have really been focused, have had some really good practices, intense. Our guys have been sharp, just kind of polishing up the game plan and trying to keep them healthy, get them to game day.
I know you've had some JV sessions. Have any of those guys stood out to you? I know we always ask you that, but...
I think it's been pretty physical. Like the group of guys, the young guys that are practicing. There's a bunch of them. They like to run around and hit, and that's always a good thing. So the physicality part won't be a problem. So, but there's a bunch of good young talent that we'll keep bringing along, and we're going to have to count on a bunch of them here pretty quick.
Is the focus there more today with just one more practice left?
The focus has been good since we've been down here. It's really good. Great yesterday for Christmas Day on a Tuesday practice after you've been practicing for a week and a half or so on one opponent. So been really pleased. Surprised maybe, but real pleased. Get good leadership though too. I think our guys are hungry and recognize the opponent and their ability and the talent that they have, and certainly the tradition that they have too. So there's that you're not having to talk them into getting excited.
Have you given pause to think about what it's going to be like Monday, walking out onto the field there and seeing Oklahoma and those uniforms, those helmets?
Not too much. Maybe it's been 3 years, so you kind of separate, what your job is and what your past was and all that. But I'll be just fine. Again, at the end of the day, it's all about those guys. With the paw on their helmet and how prepared they are, and I'm just excited to watch them go out and compete.
Brent, I know you didn't have a chance to coach the guys you recruited, but I know you had a relationship with Sterling Shepard, and he talked this week about how much you meant to him when he was around the facility.
Well, Sterling's different than a lot of those guys, as you well know, just because he was around the program since I don't know how old, 3 or 4 years old, and so he kind of grew up in the middle of our team breakdowns and practice and fall camp and football camps and sidelines on game days and so forth. So. He's a great ambassador for that program. I know his dad's awfully proud, as well as the rest of his family, and he's obviously a terrific ball player. I feel terrible that he's been banged up this year, but knowing him and the fortitude that he has, he'll find a way to get back out there on the field here to finish the year off. But real proud of Sterling and how he's grown up.
And of course, everybody, even I'm asking about Oklahoma, but have you thought about this is the last time with Grady and Vic and Corey? I mean, tell me about that.
That's depressing. That's what that is. Very depressing. No, I'm just so proud of the guys. We've said it a bunch. The guys have built a real strong culture here as a football program, certainly, but a culture of toughness, of discipline, of humility, of accountability. Just great leaders and great ambassadors for this program. It's just so different because there's so many of them. It's not just a couple of guys that are the face of it. There's a bunch of them that have taken great ownership, that have invested a great deal in this program, and are selfless along the way. So you're really just proud to go out there on the field one last time with them.
Is there part of you, because you're a coordinator and you look at all moving parts and you look at everything from running across the is there part of you that throughout the day sometimes you just goes, gosh, the starting line for next year, this guy, I've still got this guy, I've still got
do you think like that sometimes? Yeah, you always got to, coaches are always a week ahead or a year ahead, or the next group of recruits, always. And so as you're continuing to nourish the guys that you have on your team and trying to find out what they can and can't do as soon as you can before it's too late, as you're continuing to making decisions in recruiting and whether it's pre-January or going in to finish up this class or looking ahead to the 16 class, those are all things that you need to make sure that you've dotted your I's and crossed your T's. So I'm excited about the youth that we have, and also to me, we're different than a lot of teams. We play a ton of guys. With all those great players, you just look at all the young guys that have played, and across the board, just starting the front seven, with Carlos and Reeder and Dodd, and then you got Boulware and B.J. Goodson, and certainly Corinne Wiggins and Travis Blanks, Dorian O'Daniel. Those are all very good players that have played significant snaps that we know a lot about. And then you're going to have to sprinkle around them. I think we got a bunch of guys coming back in the secondary. Gary's had a really strong year. Robert's been terrific. But again, you just go at cornerback. There's been a bunch of young guys that have played there. McKenzie was just a freshman, and Cordray Tankersley, and Adrian Baker's played. And we got Marcus Edmond, and one more. But we got T.J. Green and Jadar Johnson and Javon Curse. Those are all, to me, those are all veterans that played when the game's been on the line, have been a big part of that defense being number one in the country. So we're losing a bunch of good ones. I'm not downplaying that one bit. And to me, the biggest thing that you have the void that you have to fill is the leadership and the toughness and the willingness to work and the humility. You're just praying that these guys really paid attention, because that's the magic. We got talented guys, and some guys may not play again when they're done. But the best thing about them is that these guys are humble and they love to go to work. And a lot of teams have good players. A lot of teams have really good players, but you still got to coach them and develop them. And that's